You're listening to The Rant with David King.
Branden, thank you for coming onto the podcast. I appreciate you being on the show. And, if it means, I don't know if it means anything, but you're the only one who's running for any political office for Loganville who agreed to come on the show.
Oh, okay.
So, all fairness to Melanie Long, she told me that she was too busy until November, which was code for I'm not doing this before the election.
Yeah.
And then everybody else pretty much ignored me. So I think that says a lot because I don't know why, but for some reason, people like you and a few others, they seem to be shadowed in some sort of conspiracy.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that you are willing to come onto this show, which will be shared everywhere, I think speaks volumes. So thank you. I appreciate that.
No problem. Thanks for offering it.
Absolutely. So I'm going to start by asking the question that I would have asked everybody else, which is, why are you running for mayor?
Oh, that's a good question. That's always the first one I ask when someone comes to my door. Then I usually ask their experience. But the reason why I'm running is because I love this community. I've been here my whole life. I was born here, raised here. I want to keep it Loganville. And I'm raising my daughters here. I got a 7-year-old and a 3-year-old. So people really love to move here because of how safe it is and how good the school system is. And I just really want to give back. Loganville's done so much for me. It's where I found my wife, where we got married, where we decided to raise our kids, is where my grandparents started their business, where my businesses are. I got a lot of friends, a lot of family that live here. And frankly, I just want to help others and be able to serve our community.
So you grew up here, is that right? You're born and raised Loganville. All your life you've been here?
I went away for 5 years for college. I did the 5-year plan. I was having too much fun, didn't want to come back and forth. But then I moved back here, and actually I lived in the motel over there across the street from me for a few months before I could find this house to buy.
Okay. So which motel did you live in?
Actually, the Wits Inn.
You lived in the Wits Inn. Okay.
Yeah.
Is it true that your family owned the Wits Inn?
They did.
They did.
So back in the 80s, my grandfather saw a lot of building and stuff going on here and realized contractors needed a place to stay. Mm-hmm. And also, anytime there's like a family that had like a water leak or something and couldn't stay in their house, and they worked or lived around here, they'd have to go pretty much Stone Mountain.
Yeah. So no, that's right.
He found a need in the community. He built the hotel, and it did really well. But we sold it. I don't have the date on me, but I know it's been close to 8 years ago, maybe.
Okay. Are you happy with the way it's gone since then, or do you?
I mean, anybody can criticize anybody's business that you're not in anymore, just looking from a high level overview. Mm-hmm. But I will say they do a lot for the community. A lot of people don't realize they take in a lot of the veterans because where they're located, they're right across the street from the American Legion.
Right.
So they do a lot with the veterans. They do a lot with FISH, Faith and Serving Humanity. Okay. When they have somebody who's in need, they know to call Wits Inn and be able to put them up there. And they give them discounted rates and stuff like that.
Well, that's really great. I didn't know they did that. Mm-hmm. I had no idea.
They felt a pretty big need in the community. I know they got some people that are there that will get food assistance until they can get back on their feet. So churches will put people up there and stuff like that.
Well, that's actually really interesting. I had no idea that the Wits Inn would do that. I think that's fantastic. Do any of the local churches work with them as far as like maybe First Baptist Loganville or anything like that?
I don't know the ins and out of it that much anymore. Okay. I am friends. Well, I say I'm friends. I go there and talk to them a good bit. Mm-hmm. And there are still some people that live in the community back there that remember me from growing up. Because when I went to, that was back in the day when we had a primary school, elementary school. Now it's just elementary school. But the school actually that backs up to it is Bay Creek Elementary now. That's where my daughter goes. But when it was the primary school, I would just walk from the school to the office up there. So I'd hang out with all the kids out there and just hang out, run amok.
Yeah.
And then when I got older, my granddad would make me grab his tool belt and tools, and I'd be, as he called it, his gopher. Go for this, go for that. When he was doing heating and air.
Oh, okay.
Or when anything came up in the motel, I'd have to go learn and hold tools, and that's why I've been real handy in my life and being able to fix things.
That is knowledge that is beyond valuable. It's worth its weight in gold for sure. So you want to run for mayor? You've been on city council for how many terms were you on city council
Just
for?
one.
Just
so
one.
4 years.
And in that 4 years, so you came in right after the Connolly situation.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about your tenure on city council? Do you feel like you could have done more? Do you think you've done enough? Is there something that you're proud of?
There's always more that you wanted to do while you're in office, because especially on council, you're only one vote. So there's always some things that get away from you that you wish you could have argued better or something like that, or even let people know more about it before even you got to be able to vote on it. But I know the library is a really contentious topic, but I'm very proud of the library. My girls go there. It does so much. It's like the Swiss Army knife of the community. It touches so many different people. It's not just a book depository anymore. Mm-mm. They do so many of the children's reading programs. I've actually been over there and read to the kids once, and being able to like just go there and see the kids that it's affecting is amazing. The computers are awesome there too. Their computer programs. There are still some kids that don't have internet access, and that's where they have to go do their homework. And we have a really big homeschool population here in Loganville.
Correct. Yes.
Especially since COVID.
Oh yeah.
And they only had one meeting room in there. So when they do their tutoring and stuff, it was back to back, or they have to go to other places to do tutoring.
That's a bit chaotic. My wife has done some work with Gwinnett County in terms of doing photo work, and she's photographed a few of the libraries. And I've gotten into a few heated debates on Facebook about the library. And a lot of people will say libraries aren't necessary, they're outdated, nobody goes to a library. And I always say, go to any library in Gwinnett County, and you will be amazed at how many people are there and using it. There was one particular one that I saw, which was really cool. They had a lot of after school programs. They had 3D printers. They had CNC machines. They had you can go in there and learn CAD.
Yep.
I mean, you're in high school. You could go in there after hours and learn how to use software that you normally would have to go to college and pay for to learn maybe. And so I think the library was a necessity. Yeah. My only thing I didn't like was where it went. Because I thought that was prime real estate for the city. So I was a little bit like, oof, did we kind of make a blunder putting it there? Beyond that, I believed, no doubt, that we needed a new library. The old one was old, and I'm a builder. I'm in construction. Yeah. I tell people it costs more to renovate a building of that age than it does just to build a brand new one.
And that one wasn't built properly in the first place, because we know now you're not supposed to put stucco on the ground. That stucco is put right to the ground, so it's soaked up all the moisture into it. It's falling off. It even got to the studs and all behind it.
I'm surprised there's no termite damage, because termites, they love stucco. They eat it up. Yeah.
And it was built before they had any technology, so like they have to climb up through a hole in the roof to go reset the Wi-Fi. Is very dangerous for the people that work there. And if you go to any other, not just Gwinnett, but Walton County, because, we have to go to the one in Walnut Grove and Monroe, because they can do the bigger programming, because we know we do not have the space, so they will get Ken Scott, the magician, to come here, and sometimes they'll have they don't really do the touch-a-truck there that much anymore, because they just don't have the space, but they would like to do more of those bigger opportunities, but they didn't have that there. But the location. So we had a company come in, and they were a downtown specialist company. It was called Sizemore Group, and we paid for their expertise to lead us in a direction on where to put it. So their expertise said, the middle of downtown, because they don't have to worry about the road widening ever again, because GDOT actually has it in their plan to widen Grayson Highway coming all the way down. So I'd hate that, spend money to put it there, and then they're in the same situation where they widen roads again.
Right. That needs to happen.
It does.
Bad.
And I'm sure we'll talk about that later on. But the also being the center of town is good for foot traffic. So government can only do certain things when they have land. Now you can go through your development authority to actually find a use for it that isn't institutional or government use. But with that location there, with all the foot traffic that it can potentially bring, because we're not going to be doing apartments or even a lot of dense housing in downtown. Mm-hmm. So you got to get creative with how are you going to keep up daytime foot traffic. And like I said, with all the homeschool kids, a lot of the kids programs, getting them there during the day,
right,
is going to be key to the walkability of the whole street. Because you don't want people just to park in one area. It's like, we kind of got to get out of the mindset of Walmart parking. Like where you park, you go into Walmart, you walk around, you go back to your car, you leave.
Right.
When you go to a downtown, you just want to park wherever there is parking.
Correct.
Walk where you want to go, but you walk past other stores.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to go in, you're going to want to feel part of the community, you're going to go in, talk to people, stuff like that.
Yep.
So that's a lot of the higher end thinking is let's start to where Main Street is now and work down the street. And with the library going there, another key feature of that is our infrastructure was very old and is very old. I don't know if you drove by when they put those big pipes in the ground. So we actually did fix a lot of the infrastructure right there in the middle of downtown. So when the other side of that property or any other property over there wants to be developed, they can tie right into new. They don't have to replace terracotta lines going a mile or a quarter mile down the road. They only have to tie in right next to it.
Okay.
So if we would have put it on the other end, like in front of current City Hall, mm-hmm. City Hall's its own issue. It was never designed to be a city hall. It cost a lot of money to upkeep.
Really? You're telling me an old high school wasn't meant to be City Hall? That's weird. I never would have guessed.
Yeah, you go into any one of their offices and it is massive because it's an old classroom.
Yeah.
So there's a lot, the heat, cool, there's a lot of maintenance, a lot of roof repair. Anytime one of those air conditioners go out, which are fairly often, they're very expensive to replace. So if we put the library there and make that like our government area, I actually see that corner being the most profitable piece of property in downtown because it's the biggest.
The City Hall property, you're saying?
City Hall property.
Yeah. And I would actually not disagree. The only downfall is you have City Hall on that property. So how do you, because where do you put City Hall? If you were to use that property for anything else, you have to put City Hall somewhere else. You have to move it, at least temporarily.
Yeah. And that's, with me being mayor doesn't really get a vote, but they can kind of lead the conversation into a way that is productive and actually do the work of the city. So we really need to find if we, as a council, want to commit to stay in that building and put up with the cost of it long term and forever, or do we want to look about moving it somewhere? I would love to keep it near Main Street because it's our only job center in downtown, and a lot of people that work there are, pretty decently paid jobs, and they would actually feed into the economy as well of downtown. Agreed. Going to the restaurants, stuff like that. So I don't want to take out our biggest job center from downtown. No. But the city does have other properties around town that we can look at. Sizemore actually put its back where the health department is. Okay. So that's another reason. I know the health department came up recently, but that could be a potential new city hall site right there because it's already flat, leveled, ready to go. Just that building was poorly built, so it needs to have a new building put on it, but it could match everything else around town kind of deal. But that's just an idea. Like I said, council needs to decide this, and there is creative opportunities. Like that front parking lot of the city hall, current city hall, you could do Main Street business fronts going down instead of just that parking lot, and you could hide the parking behind it.
Sure.
Stuff like that. So you actually get the human scale walkability factor there.
Right.
So it's not just because it's there, you can build around it if you want to keep the building. You know, I've seen a lot of like CNBC make it. There's people that will go buy old schools and turn them into living units and stuff like that.
Yep.
And it's real creative what they can do. If we want to save a historic building like that, that's a prime opportunity to do that.
Yeah. No,
And be able to make the money to actually afford to build a new city hall.
Yeah. I've said, I don't know where you stood on Connolly. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about Connolly and that deal and kind of get your perspective of where you sat on that, where your ideas were, because Connolly had this great idea of kind of developing that side of Main Street, working their way down towards the other way, because we had a huge hang up with building owners near the other end that didn't want to do anything, didn't want to do any modifications or updates or anything like that. And so Connolly says, all right, well, we'll start down here and we'll work our way down, and maybe that'll kind of push them into wanting to do something so they can bump their rental rates up or whatever. Where were you on this Connolly deal? Did you agree with it? Did you like it? Were you...
It was too much too soon.
Okay.
It would have changed Loganville forever, and we probably would have lost the feel of Loganville if we went that route. Now,
what is the feel of Loganville? What do you mean when you say that?
What the people kind of moved here for and what they see what Loganville is. Like, I know it's not just the historic buildings. It's hard to really describe Loganville in a nutshell because we have been changing a good bit. But at the core of it, people want the small town feel. They want the community feel. And I don't know if that would have came through with that size that they were talking about. Okay. But I am a little upset they didn't finish it through to the end.
The negotiations, because if 800 or whatever was too many, they did the Haddow report that said, you know, we could support 300 living units. Before we could even get to see that plan, it was killed. Right.
And who says there wasn't more wiggle room in there to get something more that was pleasing for the community?
Yes.
So instead of finishing out the process, because it's not like they signed any deals saying we're doing this tomorrow.
Correct.
It was all just let's negotiate and see. But we never even got to get to the end of the negotiation, because we could have got to the end. It could have been something everybody would have been happy with.
Correct.
Well, maybe not everybody. That's
But
impossible.
you're never going to please everybody. No, especially in Loganville, you're never going to please everybody.
But who knows? Say they would have went down to 200 and we got a beautiful downtown.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I know some people that were pretty well involved in all of that. And Connolly was negotiating behind the scenes to come down on that number. Obviously, and I've had people say, well, why did they start at 800 if they were going to willing to come down to 3? It's like, have you never negotiated anything? I mean, you always shoot for the moon. I'm a contractor. When I give an estimate for any job I'll do for a homeowner, it's always going to be what I want.
Yeah.
And then the homeowner's going to come back and say, that's too much. Here's where I want to be at. And then we try to meet somewhere in the middle. Or sometimes their number is just fine. Yeah. But you always negotiate. And you always start high. It's just the way it works.
Yeah, and I heard a lot of different things there, so I don't want to go into the realm of conspiracy. But
by all means, please do. Jeez.
I will say, if you're asking for 800, that does get GDOT's notice and stuff like that, so they could actually come in and start doing some of these road things faster.
Correct.
I'm not saying that would actually move the needle enough for them to jump on it sooner rather than later. So that might have had to play in it. But I just got on the DDA. Or this was back when it was the Loganville Development Authority.
So it was the LDA.
It was the downtown. So I was on the LDA at the time. I just got on. And
what year was this?
It was 2 years before I got on council. So probably
2018.
Yeah, 2019-ish.
Okay, yeah.
And when I got on there, we just started talking about, like, I came in after they already talked to Connolly and stuff. So I was new to it. I was looking at the plan. I knew it was a process. I was told, like, hey, this is going to get heated. You know, let's finish out the process. And at the end of the day, if we say no, it's okay. But we didn't even get to the end process. So I didn't really have a lot to do with it, just being on the LDA. I just knew that we were going to have to be needed for when the council decided if they wanted to go that route, they were going to have to go through the DDA to transfer property. And back then we were set up more just as, we're not like the DDA now. We were mainly just there for land transactions. So we just kind of went by what council kind of wanted us to kind of do at the time.
Yeah. I said that the way the Connolly deal went down and the way I always jokingly say they were chased out of town with pitchforks and torches. I don't think there's a ability to get another developer down here. I just don't. They talk. We all talk. Us contractor guys, we discuss. And I can tell you, if Connolly is anything, those guys are big time, but they all know each other and they all talk.
They do.
And I can guarantee you, Connolly's probably said, if you're going to go to Loganville, be ready.
Because it takes them a lot of their own money and investment to even get where they got. And they got nothing out of it.
No.
Except pretty much a slap on the hand, or, you know, like you said, pitchforks chasing them out of town.
Well, they got accused of wrongdoing. And they were, you would have thought that Connolly was like some evil corporation.
Yeah.
That it was coming to take over Loganville. And I don't understand where this came from. I'm like, why do people, and then of course all the conspiratorial things were coming up. Well, this person's going to make this money, or this person's going to do this. And of course nobody has any evidence for that.
That was all unfounded.
Yeah. And I'm like, why is this even happening? And why are we even entertaining this? Do you agree that at some point, city council, this is not a democracy. We're a constitutional republic. We elect you to represent us. I elect you to do what's in the best interest of the city of Loganville. So at the end of the day, the buck stops with you guys, and you have to make a decision. And sometimes that means somebody's going to be upset.
Yeah.
So if another developer comes in and, oh my gosh, if you could get the deals you were getting with Connolly, because there were some great deals going on there. So a lot of people were going to make some money. People who were trying to sell their land, make 2-3x on their land. They're not going to make that now.
No.
They lost out on life-changing money. If that were to happen again, is there going to be a point where you just have to say, listen, we got to vote on this. We got to at least vote to negotiate more. And we got to ignore these voices out there who are that small fringe group. We know who they are. I'm not trying to downplay anybody. Everybody has a voice, but there is a very loud group of individuals who seem to have a lot of sway in Loganville, but they're not the majority, even though they like to think they are.
We'll see with this election if they are the majority or not. Because it is going to come down to someone like me who's optimistic and actually isn't running on hate, actually running on positivity and excited about the future of Loganville. Or we got someone who's running from that crowd that is not. I mean, I'm not going to downplay any of it. So, I mean, the election really does matter. But to your question, yes and no. I know that's a political answer. I'm a politician. Bear with me.
No, it's fine.
So I don't see, like you said, I don't see anybody big coming back and wanting to play that game anymore.
No.
So what I've been focusing on more is just piece by piece going down. I know some people call it piecemealing, but I don't. I think we know our identity, and we have the ability, because the city owns the land, to go piece by piece downtown. So we don't change overnight. We gradually improve and get better. I know that's a slow way to get things done, but at the same time, progress is still better than doing nothing.
Sure.
And even if it is just like 254's next, that's the lowest hanging fruit in my mind. I know we can touch on that later.
As a member of the DDA, let me tell you, the 254 main is a very frustrating topic for us.
Well, the first one is always going to be the toughest. But once we get a plan in place for the first one, it should be easier for any other property. And whatever we do with this one doesn't mean it has to be 100% what we do with the next one, but at least we would know the process. And I think really once people see it, once it gets done, once they actually like, oh, this is downtown development, this isn't as scary as I thought it was going to be. I'm actually going to enjoy going to this rooftop restaurant, or, ooh, I can see my business being in this one. I'm going to call and see if I can make this work.
Yeah, and I would tell people, I think everyone on the DDA, including myself, we all want what's best for Loganville. Yeah. We're not here to build sky rises, and we're not trying to make it that. we're trying to find a way to entice business owners to come down there, because right now it is a very high risk.
It is.
To put anything down there because of just the way it's set up. And I know some people don't understand that, but as a business owner myself, like if I was going to open a restaurant, that would be the last place I'd put it just because it's hard enough. 9 out of 10 restaurants fail. You know, it's hard enough to run a restaurant. It's hard enough to run a business. You put it in a location that's not thriving. I mean, there are places, I'll put it to you this way. The hummus place in the Kroger down parking lot. I wouldn't even have put that there if I was the owner. I'd be too scared because that's the third restaurant that's been in that location. I think might be the fourth.
Location can get a bad voodoo kind of.
It does. There
is
a sort of bad luck to it, and so you have to think about these things. And we've got to find a creative way to make the downtown more enticing. And we have to, as a city, I think, and maybe you agree with this, you can let me know. But the city has to be open to discussing, talking to restaurant owners in other cities, and saying, what can we do to be better? What can we do as a city to help you? Yeah. Because that oftentimes can be a deal breaker. Like you could have the best location, all the foot traffic. Hey, this looks great. And then the city's just impossible to deal with. I'm not saying that's Loganville, but it could be.
So I've been doing a lot of that. I've been in charge of Economic Development Committee since I've been on council. And that's how I got tacos and beer here from Monroe. I'll be honest with you, I own that building, me and my sisters. They're also raising their families here in Loganville. And we see the potential of Loganville like we always have. And so he's like, hey, we're financially able. Let's pitch in and be able to be a start of the revitalization. And so when we targeted that building, it took us about a year of convincing of the original owners to even want to sell to us. And the reason why we even got them to sell to us is because we're an old Loganville family. It is what it is. But we showed them the plan about how we wanted the building to look and what that would mean to downtown. Mm-hmm. And their kids were in the room. And the kids were like, Mama, you got to sell them that land. You're never going to do this. Yeah. And this is what Loganville needs. If you want us to stay here long term, we need a downtown.
Sure.
Because most of my friends my age, I was born in 88, but everybody who graduated with me, we mainly have
88, baby. It's a good year.
88 was great.
Heck yeah.
So a lot of people our age don't live here. Let's be honest. There's a few of us around, but even my graduating class, there's maybe 6 or 7 of us left. Most of them have moved to Monroe.
Yeah.
Or other places that have downtowns.
Yep.
So talking with Tacos and Beer, they were about the 4th one I contacted. I actually had Amicis. I had a franchisee ready to sign for Amicis to go there.
Oh.
And so the CEO of Amicis, before he has to sign off personally on every one, he came and drove downtown Loganville about 6:30 at night, 7 o'clock. He goes, nope, it's too dead. There's no lighting. There's no walkability. There's nobody close by that will keep this place running except on Friday nights and Saturdays. And we can't survive just on Friday night and Saturday business.
Yep.
So that's when I talk about getting creative with like the library or even fitting in some different kind of housing downtown. Like if we're not going to do apartments, we're not going to do real dense zoning. We got to set our expectations that we might not get the best or the top tier, but we can get something that we're all proud of, a good place that we can still go to and be able to enjoy. Because I want the businesses to come to actually be successful. And I talked with a lot of businesses on the front end before we designed that building, because I wanted them to kind of handhold us a little bit and be like, what do you want? I want you to be able to succeed here for 30 plus years.
Sure.
So help us make the building. And that's why a lot of it came up the way it is now. I know some people were a little, when they heard upstairs, outside seating, they were thinking it was going to be purely rooftop. But when it comes down to it, that's only going to make them money during perfect weather days.
Correct.
So they need as much indoor seating as possible. And since we didn't have the infrastructure there yet, we didn't have a 6-inch or 8-inch water line coming to the street, so we can only go 99 occupants in that building. Because once you go over 100, then you have to do a sprinkler system.
Okay.
Now, they can do the suppression system in the kitchen.
Sure.
But So that kind of limited the amount of people that we could build for there. We could actually have fit like 120 something in there.
Wow, really?
We actually
it doesn't even look that big.
It's a lot bigger than you think on the inside.
I bet.
And then we actually ended up, what was the other restaurant I called? I had a local pizza place. I don't want to call him out, but he actually went pretty far in the process in designing the building with us. And then he ended up backing out one day, just called me and goes, I just don't see it yet. I can't be the first one.
That's what it takes. You got to find the one who's willing to roll the dice and be the first one.
Yeah.
And that's what it takes.
When I called Antonio, who owns Tacos and Beer, he also owns Cocina Fuentes in Monroe as well. So he owns 2 very successful restaurants. And he actually lives in Loganville. And so he saw the future. I actually showed him the Sizemore plan. And he goes, oh, this would be awesome. I would love to jump in and get on this.
Get in early.
Yeah, get in early. Because he knew once he got there, there probably wouldn't be another Mexican place coming to the street.
No. Yeah, exactly. We've already got enough on 78 alone.
We do,
but
I will say you kind of vote with your wallet on that.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
we don't eat. We go to
complain all the time about Mexican and chicken, but if you go out on a Friday night or Saturday, those places are the ones that are going to have the longest lines and the most people at them.
Oh yeah, no, and
they're proven to do well wherever they go.
Yeah.
So that's why he was an easier first one to get.
Yeah. There's a reason why we have 3 or 4, Mexican restaurants on 78 and none of them have gone out of business. They're still there.
Oh,
so the idea that, we have too much of this or that's like the market is what the market is. And if the market says there's too much Mexican, then the next one will go out of business, but they don't. They keep staying busy. Chapo's came in. It's so funny. My wife and I, we kind of joked and we said, I don't know, man, this one's been 3 or 4 different things too. Remember? Yeah. I mean, it was all kinds of different places. And I thought, yeah, I'll give it 6 months and it'll probably be gone because we've got all these other Mexican. That place is still there. And that's the only one we go to in Loganville.
Really? Yeah.
Chapo's is our favorite place to go eat Mexican.
Yeah. Well, we live right across the street from one, as you know.
Yep.
So we go there a good bit, but we do go to Chapo's a lot.
I love Chapo's.
My daughter's
got great margaritas. Just saying.
You get the tower?
No, I haven't, but I thought about it. Don't get me wrong.
I want to get that steak bowl that they have with all the meat that's sizzling and it's coming out. Have you seen that thing they have?
I have seen that, and
it smells good. It looks good. I feel like I need 20 people to eat it though.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I'll eat it all myself. I'm that way. I'm kind of a pig, but. No, I think that they're all good. I like La Bamba and all that. I think they're fine. It's just Chapo's are one of our favorite places to go to. But do you think it's fair that someone would say, and I've heard this from, I won't say who said it, just out of fairness, but I think you'll know who's saying running their mouths the most. They said that Tacos and Beers, it's not being managed. It's never going to open. This is all just a front. You're doing this to make yourself look better for the election.
If I could spend over $1 million to win an election, that would be a lot better ways to do it than that. I'm doing this to better our community. And, it's crazy talk. Why? I'm sorry. I'm just trying to think, how they would think me buying a building like that just for the election. That would be insane.
I'm trying to wrap my head around that accusation as well, because that's a huge roll of the dice and it's a lot of money. And I know that the Tacos and Beer guy, I'm sure he's fronted most of the build out cost, and I'm sure it's been through the roof. I've heard there was some foundation issues.
There was. So I'll go into it. I don't mind. We'll be as open as I can about it.
I mean, yeah. So, it sounds like there's some hiccups with the building, and that's normal. It's that's an old space.
We bought the building, the floors. They actually had the floors redone, and they look nice, and the ceiling looked pretty good too. But we had to pick one or the other to kind of save. So we picked the flooring, but then we realized we couldn't save it. We had to take out all the new stuff that they just put in because there was so much water intrusion that came from the property behind us, and the rest of the street all was flooding underneath that building.
Oh my.
So when we had to put in the steel to go vertical for the second story, we had to get an excavator inside that building to take out 25 foot of saturated dirt and then bring in new dirt. And when we did that, that's when we realized those walls were about to go. So even though one of them was a shared wall with the neighbor, I reached out to Bud. I said, buddy, I'm going to spend a lot of money fixing our wall here, but I'm also going to have to fix your back wall. So don't worry. I'll get it fixed for you.
Right.
And he said, awesome, thank you.
Yeah, I'm sure he's thrilled.
I had to fix up pretty much most of that side, just because if you're there, I'm not going to leave it. Mm-hmm. And so it took a lot longer than I expected because of issues like that. I also waited about 3-4 months before we started building because I wanted to find a partner. Like we paid for all the build out so far up into the interior build out. So we did all the exterior. We did all that. We asked their opinions on it. That's why we got the glass roll up door. And that's why we have no windows on the back of it, which I know seems odd, but we wanted to give the people that live behind it as much privacy as possible.
Sure.
And I would love lighting to go up on the side of the building, but we said no to that because I don't want to keep the neighbors up. Stuff
Right.
like
Because it's
that.
going to, yeah. No, I think that's courteous and it makes sense. What is left to do for tacos and more beer? Do you need, I've heard things like you don't have a grease trap. You don't have.
No, we have all that. I made sure that we could get all that before I even closed on the building because I said if we cannot get a grease trap, there's no point in ever being able to put a restaurant here.
No, you can't.
I've heard that they're not going to have a kitchen, so they're just going to. I was pushing food trucks so they could just do a food truck. I'm like, why would they do a food truck if they have a restaurant right there just for a kitchen? So no, there's a kitchen. It's going to be a really cool kitchen, but that's what they're building now. That's going to be their hardest part is just getting like the Vent-A-Hood system and all that put in. But I roughed in all the plumbing. I already got the grease trap approved by the city. It's actually in between the beams of the flooring.
Okay.
Because they have to get a pump like every week instead of like every month or 2 months or however they got to do it when you get the 5,000 gallon one.
Right.
Because the only way to fit that would be we'd have to dig up part of Main Street to put it in the ground.
Sure.
Because there wasn't enough room at the back.
Yeah.
And that's impossible.
No, it's never going to happen.
So we had to go, and the city's never really done this before either. So I'm not really throwing it on the city. We were kind of learning together on some of this.
Sure.
So it went longer than I expected. I really thought, because I've done buildings before, but granted, there have been still buildings out in the county.
Sure.
Are residential, and I usually have them up in 6 months to a year tops. I haven't ever done a historic building before.
Welcome to that world.
So trying to save as much history as possible and do it the right way cost a lot of extra money. It would have been up in 6 months if I'd knocked the building down and rebuilt. But that's not the path I want to go. It wasn't best for Loganville.
No.
I wanted to save history, not tear it down.
I appreciate that. I don't think people realize how much, I think some folks just kind of think you go into these buildings, you turn it into a restaurant, right? Now, if it needs a kitchen, you just put a kitchen in there. And for you just hearing what you're talking about as a guy who's renovated and built and done all this, I can appreciate the amount of effort you put into it.
Thank you.
You stuck with it because a lot of folks would be like, this is a bad idea. Just
it's a daunting task.
Sell the damn building, get out, cut our losses. It's never going to be a restaurant. There's too many no's, not enough yeses in this situation. Yeah. Too many hurdles.
I made a promise. I'm going to make sure I fulfill that promise that we are going to have a good restaurant that we're all going to enjoy in downtown Loganville.
Yep. Well, even if you didn't, and even if for some crazy reason tacos and beer pulled out because they're like, we're tired of dumping money into this building and we're not doing it anymore, whatever. The fact of the matter is you did the effort. You put in the work. I've had too many folks, and I get so frustrated. It's like these people, they complain, but nobody's putting any money into it. Nobody's got skin in the game.
I put my money where my mouth is.
I appreciate that. And that's what I wanted to ask you, because that's the thing. We can all sit here and go, well, we should do this. Well, we should have a steakhouse. I would love a steakhouse. Really? I would love a steakhouse too. Why don't you build one and put it in here? And I'll tell you what, the people on Facebook that say they want a steakhouse, I'll make you this promise. You put a steakhouse in, I will be the first person to sit at your table, and I'll spend $100 or more. I'll drop $5. Yeah, I'll come twice, 3 times a month. Yeah. But do it. Put your money where your mouth is. Is there anybody else on council with you that's doing something like that? Is anybody buying, investing, trying to do something? Or does it seem like maybe there's just some rabble rousers that are on there that are talking a lot but not doing a lot?
Let me answer it this way. Everybody on council, there's 3 of us that go to all the meetings, and actually go to training and actually learn how to properly build a downtown. And those three, we do everything we can to put Loganville first and downtown to where in a place for it to succeed. If we had at least one or two more go with us, we would actually get the votes to go in that direction. So they've had ample amounts of time and opportunity because the city will pay for your training to go and do this and learn and go to other cities and be able to talk to the people who's lived it, breathed it, done it, what works, what doesn't work. And they decide not to go and not to do that. They might prefer to bury their heads in the sand and not listen to experts, where I'm not saying everybody is in the position to be able to do what I did. Not saying some of them would if they could, but I know there's probably some that might just be the rebel rousers, as you put it.
My thing is this: there's always a way you can get involved, even if you're not in a financial situation to buy a building and convert it to a restaurant. There's ways that I would think that they could get with you and say, "Hey, what can we do to help facilitate the process here for tacos and beer?"
Not tear it down.
Yeah, like not sit here and pretend like you're doing this for some sort of political reason, which is stupid. That's out of all the people on the city council, there's a couple there that we know are against Connolly. Would you say that those folks that were against Connolly, that got in the way of it, definitely were part of the reason why it got stopped? Have they done anything to move this city forward? Or have they just sat in a seat and occupied it for the last 4 years?
That's a hard question because it depends on what citizen you ask. There's some citizens that don't want anything to change.
Well, we can't have that.
In their mind, then yeah, they're doing a good job. But also, when it comes out, they'll go and support stores downtown like Braxton's, and they'll help them out. So I can't say that they're not willing to help local businesses that are there, but they're not helping them in the right way. Like, yeah, we'll all go and buy something from them occasionally, or go, give them a shout out if we're, on a podcast or something like that.
Sure.
But the way to really help them is actually get more people in their door. And there's only certain ways we can do that through policy.
Right.
And so, I looked at creative ways like food truck park, let's do something like that. And that will bring people downtown to eat.
Yep.
And they can go into stores while they're there. Or the library, getting more people down there. Or stuff like that. Not say no to everything and nothing's ever going to get better.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I think you guys could do a food truck in the back parking lot there. You could stage them, and that's right there in walking distance to all the stores. And
I made sure I cleared that with Toasted Up and with tacos and beer. I was like, I don't want to bring in food trucks if you think it's going to affect you. And they both said that would only help us, because if people have never been down here before, some of these people with food trucks, they got massive social media following.
Yeah.
People that have never been to downtown Loganville will come to the food truck and be like, oh, that place is cute. I want to go there next time I'm here.
There's a reason why there's a Burger King next to a McDonald's.
Yeah.
They're always near each other. It's not it works out, because some people go, oh, there's a line wrapped around McDonald's going to Burger King, or some people prefer one of the, but it brings the crowd. It brings the traffic.
And you hit the nail on the head there. We went into the psychology of downtown development in class, and people won't go unless there's 3 restaurants minimal in a certain area.
Yep.
And they say the magic number is 3. Once you get 3, the rest of the things will start surviving more.
Yep.
So, and it's a lot, just like what you said, they aren't going to go out to an island to go eat in case the island's shut down.
Yeah.
But if there's 2 or 3 places to go, they're more willing to go, and it's more of an experience.
Yep.
So they know if there's other businesses around, they don't mind walking and parking further down to get there, because they know there's other things to do. Say there's a 45-minute wait. Well, that's okay. We can go shopping at the store over here.
Correct.
Or we can go sit over here and get a drink and wait.
I can tell you that is what, like, if my wife and I will go downtown Monroe, we might either go walk around and look at the shops and then go eat, or reverse. Yeah. And it's just it's like a destination. We may not even buy anything, but we just like to go. We're down there. It's like, oh, look at all the stuff look, oh, here's a new store. We didn't see that before. Yeah. We need to go. Let's go check it out. Let's just go see what it's all about. And I agree with the 3 restaurant rule, because I was opening up a brewery. I was trying to open up a brewery when I got out of the Marine Corps, and I had to do all this research. And they said, when you have 3 of some, like three of one restaurant. Because at the time it was going to be a brew pub. Because at the time in Georgia, you couldn't just open a brewery and sell direct.
So much
you had
food sales to have alcohol sales.
So I was doing a lot of restaurant work, and it was like that. You need three restaurants. I usually, and then and ideally, not direct competitor of the same food, but something is okay. And I agree, and that is the formula.
In Loganville's, we're a bit different. You got to look at our demographics. You got to see how much money we're willing to spend when we go out to eat.
Yes.
Some people who are some of the biggest advocates for steakhouses and stuff like that, they maybe only have the finances to maybe go once or twice a year. And when they look at disposable income in an area, Loganville is doing good right now. If you can spend about $15 to $25 a plate when you go out per person, and that's even pushing it. But some of these places that they want the most are going to be $45 to $65 a plate. Yeah. So what's the viability of that? We're not there yet.
Yeah.
But tacos, pizza, some home cooking, barbecue, that really fits our area currently. I'm not saying we might not go into more areas later on down the road, but people who are coming here know that. And so they're not going to say, I'm going to put a steakhouse right here because we're not going to get enough customers here that can afford us all the time. They want people to come 2-3 times a week, not just once a month.
Correct. They want repeats. And that's the thing. And I know people want a steakhouse. Some folks say, I just want a Longhorn. And I'm like, all right.
That's the epitome of high class.
Yeah. I'm like, there's a Longhorn in Monroe. There's one in Snellville. Like, do we really need one here?
I prefer local.
Yeah, I would much rather have a mom and pop steakhouse. Even if I pay an extra $15 to $20 a plate, I'm willing to do that.
Yeah.
But I'm a different income bracket than other folks, and I totally understand that. But that being said, there's a reason why Longhorn's not here. Yeah. There's a reason why they're in Snellville and they're in Monroe and they're not here.
Because they don't drive to those, and they know that they have the data.
Exactly. The people who can afford it will drive there, and they don't probably think there's enough folks here who are going to consistently go to Logan or Longhorn and pay, because you're going to pay at least $50 to $60. If you go two people, you buy a steak dinner, you're going to spend probally $50. Yeah, you get an appetizer, a drink
on that. Yes.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. So we do have some. So let me ask you this: you want to be mayor? How do we change that demographic? Because I've been here since 2015. I'm not originally from Loganville. I'm a damn Yankee. I'm from Michigan. I apologize. My wife is.
You ended up in the right place.
Yeah, my wife brought me here. She was born in Snellville. She grew up in Loganville. Okay. So, she of all people like you know what's changed and where this is going. But where I see Loganville going, I'm very concerned. I feel like we've always been kind of a drive-through town, and now it's getting worse. And I feel like it's inviting the wrong people to the city. I'm afraid we're going to start getting the lower income. I don't mean to be rude, and I know that's a taboo term, low income. Don't say that, but I will. I'm not a politician. I want people with good jobs. I want people who want to start families. They want to buy a house and stay in that house and take care of that house. I don't want the opposite of that.
Yeah.
Whether that, if you make $30,000 a year and you want to do all those things, then great. But I think we need to find a way to target that certain demographic that makes $60,000, $70,000, $80,000, $100,000 a year combined, maybe. But I feel like we're moving in the wrong direction. So what can we do? What can you do as a mayor?
We have to look about what housing they want to buy.
Okay.
So we even have people that live here now that want to downsize and can't. There's nowhere for them to go. We got people that want to live in downtown and they can't. So if you look at a lot of the areas, like, I'm going to throw out an example here, but it's a Gwinnett County example, like Avalon or like Halcyon. There's some of those planned developments, and I know that's a little taboo around here, but I am in favor of walkability. And if you look at any of those areas, walkability is key. People want that. They will move to that. They will stay there long term. And those houses aren't cheap because you're paying for the atmosphere as well in the community. And so I know one of the bigger developments was the Tuck Farm property. It was 200 acres.
Yep.
Say we didn't look at doing a PUV, which has a center green space with some roll-up door restaurants around it. It's built to be a walkable area, so people don't have to leave 100% of the time to go everywhere.
Yep.
They can actually stay kind of in their area and golf cart, walk, bike where they want to go.
Yeah.
That actually reduces traffic, but at the same time, it is more self-sustainable because you got more people, more businesses that actually support the infrastructure around it, versus if, say, this deal didn't go through, D.R. Horton or someone comes in and just puts, say, 200 acres, half-acre lots. Oh, that was 300 acres, wasn't it? I can't remember off the top of my head.
Are you talking about the Tuck
Farm.
deal? Yeah,
But say it was half-acre lots, just housing, that have to go 100% out of there. And it's just going to make us even more car dependent, even more of a pass-through town. I think people want a community that they feel safe in, they feel invited, and they actually want to hang out and have a community aspect. And building walkable places like that is the way you do that. And those are the ones that actually do better when it comes to attracting young professionals and families, stuff like that. They want to be a part of a community, not just a part of a neighborhood where you might not even talk to your neighbors, except for maybe waving to them as you drive by.
Yeah, well, I'll say that's kind of the way the direction's going for sure. I mean, if we want to do anything, we got to go to Monroe or Grayson. So everybody's driving out there, and
unless you come to a city event, hopefully. Those events are a lot of
fun. I came to the Fall Festival, and the Fall Festival was mind blowing. So I was just like, wow, this was. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, Tacos and Beer actually set a tent up there, and they said they sold out because people were just all excited. And I was telling people, I was like, if you want to know, go talk to Tacos and Beer. They will tell you that they're coming. And
why would? Yeah, and again, why people? Some folks said to in my purview, why were they there set up? And I mean, it's just they were surprised to see them set up out there serving food
in front of their own
when their restaurant. Right. I don't know. I don't understand the hostility, and maybe we can talk about that. But it just seems like everybody thinks that you're out there to do something. You and Ann Hunsinger.
She gets walloped. Yeah.
And I've spoken to her on Facebook, and I have no reason to believe that she has anything nefarious. And
she doesn't. She's a good woman. I really like Ann a lot.
Well, she's highly intelligent. Mm-hmm. She really knows what she's doing. I think Loganville is going to suffer for her not rerunning. I think she should have reran. But maybe she's going to go someplace. I don't blame her.
If you don't have good people like that want to run, then we're going to keep getting what we're getting. And I'll be honest, I waited really late to sign up for mayor. I signed up on the last day, on like the last hour, because I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I really had to pray about it with my family.
Sure.
I really had to talk to a lot of close friends and family, because I had people pushing me to run, a lot of former mayors and stuff like Brandon, you have to run, because you know more than even we did before we got in the office, and you have the ideas and the vision to make Loganville succeed. You're not running just on hate. So I was hoping somebody else might jump into mayor that was a former city councilman or someone who knew what they were doing. So then I could either stay on council or decide, okay, the city's in a good place. They don't need me. And I can just sit back. Because I don't think anybody really wants to do this job. If you want this job, you're a glutton for punishment.
Yeah, I see how Skip gets treated. So. Skip's one of the nicest guys I've met. And I mean, I don't know him personally, but he seems like a very nice person. But you would think he's the devil, according to some folks, which is weird. But this isn't DC. This is why I had this argument. I got into this rant with my wife after the city council where Melanie tried to censor Ann. It was almost like a tit for tat thing, and it was just so frustrating. And Patty Wolf, and God bless Patty Wolf, sweet lady. I don't have anything bad to say about Patty Wolf. I think she's a nice woman. I think she has really well intentions, but she doesn't understand why she's being censored, or maybe why she feels like she's being attacked. And I said, this isn't DC. This is the real world. This is Loganville, Georgia. Mm-hmm. You can't go up into the podium in the Senate and call your opponent a Nazi or whatever you want to say, like they do in DC. And then everybody laughs and goes, has a steak dinner and pats each other on the back. And whatever. This is a real world where if you insult somebody or you accuse them of something or conspiracy, your conspiracy theories that you put out, like, this person's out to make money and sabotage Loganville. When you do that, people are like, no, we take that personally. And so now you've put a target on your back. Maybe instead of this sort of hyperbole, this rhetoric, we all stop for a minute and go, are we really all out? Is there an actual agenda? Do you have an agenda that's going to benefit you when you become mayor? Like, for instance, I can ask you right now, do you have an agenda when you become mayor that's going to make you all this money? Obviously, you own property all over Loganville. We know that.
Yeah.
You own
some. No.
I mean, what is the benefit for you becoming a mayor that's going to make you a lot of money? What do you say to people who say that?
It costs me money because every time when I do a job, I do it 100%. And that was another reason why I thought real long and hard about if I want to be mayor, because you got to go to all these meetings with Gwinnett Municipal, Walton Municipal. You got to go to GDOT meetings during the day all the time. So that takes time away from my job that actually pays me money.
Yeah.
So if you figure out the hours, you're putting in probably close to, if you're going to do it right, 20 to 30 hours a week. And you do get paid. It's a paid position. It's $1,000 a month before taxes. So come on.
That's like less than minimum wage there, man.
So instead of investing my time into the community, which is what I love doing, and that's why I'm running for mayor, because I do love Loganville, I can invest that into my own time to actually go and make more money.
Right.
You see, so it's not like, and when I go to these trainings, I know we got a few people that ORR, which is open to record request everything. And I'll be honest with you, the city pays for the training. I pay for my own food, my own hotel, all that stuff. And right now it's only $500 a month for council. So I probably spent more than what I make just on gas and traveling and all that stuff. So anything, I might break even, but you also got to think about like campaign cost and all that. Like by the time you get into it, if you just break even when it comes to the pay coming in, now I will say a good downtown will benefit everybody.
I agree.
It will make everybody's home prices go higher.
That could be a good thing. Depends if you like paying the property tax, which keeps, property tax keep going up anyway. So at this rate, it's like I might as well have the downtown and everything.
Well, you should be homesteaded, right? You homestead your property?
I don't know.
You go to the county, make sure you're homesteaded, because that will lock in your value. So even if it does go up, you're paying on the value that it is today instead of later on. Yeah,
I'll have to look into that. Don't even get me started on taxes and government and all that. But I agree. We need a downtown. I disagree. Look, I said Loganville's not a small town anymore.
Yeah.
I understand we want the small town feel. I get it. I can appreciate the folks that grew up here in the 50s, in the 60s, and they talk about how Loganville is and how everybody knew everybody and they all went to the same church and they all shopped at the same the grocery store. And I'm like, listen, I love Mayberry. I'm all for it. I'd love it if the sheriff didn't carry a gun and he just said, I'm all for that idea of life, but we're well past that now.
We got to realize what today's world is.
We are growing, regardless if we want to or not. The traffic is here, whether we like it or not. The traffic isn't going to get better. In fact, it's gotten worse, and we didn't get the Connolly deal, so I don't know how that works out. I thought traffic only got worse because we were going to put 800 apartments downtown. But again, that didn't happen. But now it takes me 15 minutes to get through Loganville.
Like you said, we're a pass-through city. We're going to, we got more building going up on Gwinnett County. I get calls all the time. Why'd you approve this apartment complex? Well, we didn't. We haven't had apartment zoning in over 5 years now.
Yeah.
So when people say I'm pro apartments, that's not even in our zoning book. But they're building them right up to our door in Gwinnett, and whose roads are they using?
Yeah.
Loganville.
Yep.
And they're coming and using our stores and all, which is great because we'll make a little bit on the sploss and all that kind of stuff. And then same thing, they're building on the other side of us too. I'm not saying Walton County is building real dense or anything, but even more housing outside of us. And we have a highway going through. People are going to be going and using that highway more.
Absolutely.
And they're finding the little connector roads that used to be a secret that we used to use.
Yeah,
now
I know.
they're finding that too.
Oh, I know it. Don't I know it?
So yes, we can improve some things, but it's not. I don't think we're ever going to really be able to catch up. I wish I could sit here and honestly tell you, like, yeah, I got a magic fix, but we don't. It's like you can improve things when things come online. Like, for example, the Whataburger going down here on the street right past us.
Yeah.
They're doing a right turn lane right there, so you don't have to sit at the light to go right on the 78.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Yeah, so, and then it'll give you a longer lane, too, so you can actually get over into it.
We need that. That'll be really helpful.
Yeah, but it's like little things like that. Like, I know we looked about doing a connecting road behind Publix and Walmart, but there's a lot of land acquisition. There's going to be a lot of cost. But at the same time, if we know we're working at a red light, we had to buy some land from Chili's right there because that was actually a private road. So we need to make it a public road and do a traffic light there. But why would we need the connection if both of them are going to have a traffic light where you can take us left safely out of?
Is there any plan? Has GDOT given any word on traffic lights out there in front of Publix? Seems like it's never going to happen.
It's going to happen. I just can't tell you when because so the way it works is like we have to do so much studies up front and all these feasibility studies and land acquisition, stuff like that. And we've done all that and we're right in line. But GDOT is also doing their own thing on 78 too. They're looking about doing a median.
Good.
Yeah. But that's why that traffic light will be actually needed because now you can be able to take a left.
Yeah, no kid. Well, maybe that's a good thing. That I hate them. I don't know what GDOT's obsession is with medians. They're
saves lives.
I know.
It slows things down.
But I hate it. I get it. I mean, in Michigan, we have the avenues. Like you can never. There's no U-turns. You go right or whatever. I don't remember how there are no left turns. You always go right and then come around. But and it works. But they have enough space. The problem I always see is we have these medians, and then the turn lanes aren't long enough. And so the turn lanes get backed up, and then they back up the left lane, and then all traffic is screwed, and everyone's trying to get around that, and it backs up the right lane. And so it's like, why is this median here? Why isn't it not just one big giant turn lane?
But also,
for efficiency reasons.
On the other side of the coin, you're right. I'm not saying you're not. Say there's a wreck there, and there's a wreck there often.
Yeah.
We're backed up to Snellville because no lanes are going.
That's true.
So...
I know it's too much to ask people to put their phones down while they're driving and actually pay attention. So we're just going to have to figure out other means to keep people from running into one another. Let's move on. We've kind of talked about the downtown. I think we both agree that the downtown needs some work. I do have some ideas for other parts of it that we could talk about another time, maybe at a DDA meeting. That'd be nice. But tell me why maybe you feel like, obviously you felt the necessity to run for mayor. Mm-hmm. You felt like you needed to be here. You prayed about it. You feel like this is where the Lord's taking you. I can appreciate that. Do you think, is there a reason? Is it because maybe the other person isn't qualified? Do you feel like he's not going to be good for Loganville? What tell me what you think. I invited him on the podcast. For the record, he ignored me. Whether he did it intentionally or not, he ignored me.
John's a good mechanic. He's actually a good man. I like John.
Sure.
He actually has been working on, as you saw, my car when you came in.
Oh, boy.
He's one of the only ones that actually knows how to work on it.
Check your brake lines before you go out on the road.
84 Eldorado. So he's a good mechanic. He's a good business owner. He's a good man.
I have no reason to doubt that. For the record, I just want that to be out there that he seems like a great guy. I don't have anything against him. I'm just wondering, why is he running for mayor? What qualifies him to be mayor? And why do you think he doesn't qualify?
This is a job that anybody can get if you're elected. So he can win and he would be mayor. But he doesn't, I'm trying to put this in a nice way. He doesn't really understand the inner workings of how governments work or how to get things done. So when you're making like certain promises and I'm back there like, yeah, that's never going to happen, or yeah, I wouldn't have made that promise or something like that because I know how it works. And I already have like the connections needed because I am friends with other mayors and other city council, other city managers. I go to the Gold Dome at least once a year to go advocate for Loganville for certain projects. So I already know how a lot of it works. I know a lot of the technical jargon and stuff that you need to know about, if you want speed bumps on your road. I know how, like, okay, well, we're going to have to get out there and put out the speed things, actually track the speeds to see if people are actually speeding. So there's a lot of that kind of stuff. So he would have a big learning curve. And it took me at least 2 years to learn enough to be proficient enough to actually do what I was doing.
So you're saying it's not a question of character. It's just a question of experience and knowledge.
Yeah, that's a part of it. He's also, there was an abandoned mobile home park next to his house.
Okay.
On Line Street. I used to play with the kids there growing up, so don't get me wrong. I own a mobile home park. I'll be honest. I own one. It's out in the county.
Okay.
It's in a nice,
quiet
quiet
you don't own the
area.
one here up the street?
No, I do not. We sold that one as well. My family did own that one at one point. So I like trailer parks. I love mobile home parks. The people
they make
there
good
are
money.
great. Well, the people that are in my park, there's the Fish. They do a program to where they help people get up on their feet. So they actually rent out a unit from us for that. So they can actually put someone in there that's in need. And in 6 months, they have to start paying all their rent to help wean them back up so then they can make money and then go out again.
See, I absolutely love that.
And
I love that. That's
a lot of
fantastic.
retirees, people that are just on a set income.
Yeah.
They've been living there. My tenants usually stay on average 9.5 years. So it's not like there's a lot of turnover. People ask me all the time, well, I can't wait till you get one available so I can come live in your park. I'm like, well, it's pretty competitive to get in my park. I mean, because we like it nice. We like it quiet. I do all the yards out there. I do all the repairs unless it's over my head.
So nobody actually owns the mobile homes. They rent them from you.
Yeah, they rent them from
and then
me.
you just keep up with everything.
I keep up with everything.
Okay.
But there was one, in downtown Loganville probably isn't the best place for a mobile home park.
No, I would agree.
So there was 4 acres there. That was O&I, which is office and industrial. And then 17 of those acres was an abandoned mobile home park with a mobile home park designation. So that land has been for sale for a very long time. And so they came in and they asked for RM6, which is 6 attached units per acre. And I talked to them. I said, and you see, that's the thing. So if you're going to listen to the citizens, which is impossible not to,
right,
you have to be able to talk with the landowner too. Like you want to be fair.
Sure.
So you can't go in with your ears closed to them, but you only get the citizen side. You need to be able to mediate between the two some. So I said, so across the street, there's attached units, but in modern day zoning, it would be RM4. And then down the street, there's RM8 and RM4. And you also have single family detached. It's like, if you show me a single detached family neighborhood, I think it would be better for the city. And I actually thought they were going to withdraw their application. Mm-hmm. But then they came back with a detached home community. They're a little close. It's 3.44 an acre. So we're talking about 10-foot width of in between homes.
Uh-huh.
But we already have some of those in town.
Sure.
So it's not like I can say you cannot build that even though we already have some around town.
Right.
And you are right across the street from attached units. And you are like 4 parcels down from an RM8, which was 8 per acre. So I got to respect your land rights at the same time, but thank you for actually wanting to build more in line with what the city wants and what the people kind of want. Now, I understand some people want nothing there. So they're going to say, well, if you would have kept it a mobile home park, nothing would ever be built there. I'm like, well, it would be something. What if someone did come put a mobile home park there? Or say they went over to do single detached family homes there, match the area to a T.
Yep.
then they have options that are legal in manner.
Yeah, I would rather have that than an abandoned mobile home park. I think that would be better for everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of makes sense, but so that's
and he's running. That's when he got involved.
So he got frustrated with that.
He got frustrated with that. He says we don't listen and all that kind of stuff. And so then he came to those meetings, and I never saw him again until he decided to run for mayor. Then he started coming for council meetings. So just knowing what's going on in town too, like actually going to these meetings and talking to people, know what's going on is important.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I mean, admittedly, I stopped after the Connolly deal went belly up. I got so frustrated, I stopped paying attention. And so I started to pay attention over the last 6 or 7 months, and then I got involved with the DDA.
And thank you for wanting to serve and help out the city where you can.
I didn't know. Listen, I said I can sit here and complain, or I can try to do something.
Yeah.
And every day I'd go out, I'd leave the neighborhood right here, and I would, I'm just screaming at my steering wheel, like, what's going on here? Nothing's changing, that the traffic's getting worse, and the downtown still, whatever it is so frustrating. So I said, I'm just going to do what I can. I will say that the people on the DDA are great. I've gotten to know some of them. They're going to come onto the podcast too. I'm looking forward to it, but I do feel like even now, I still feel like it's a little hopeless. I am sitting there going like 254 is not going anywhere. They've got to do an IGA, all this red tape. Now we're changing ordinances. We got to redo our ordinances. That's going to take 16 to 19 months. I'm like, oh my God. So I'm like, what are we going to do? Like, what are we doing on this like, what are we coming here once a month to talk about? Are we going to come in here and talk about farmers markets? Because we can set that up. But I feel like if we want to do real change or do some real good, I'm like, I just don't know if we have, I don't know if we have the ability to. I'm kind of worried.
Well, y'all have the legal ability to. And did you go to the DDA training?
Not yet, and admittedly, I've been reserved, and I haven't said much because I haven't done the training yet. I need to do it.
With that, it was really good at teaching you what you can do and what is your purview, and there's a lot that you can do. Now, they don't give you a lot of examples in that class, so I do highly recommend going on some of the city walks, some of the city tours with the Georgia Downtown Association is really good. But when we had the discussion about 254, I brought up Jeff Speck, which is he's probably the leading downtown development expert in America. And he came up with these 7 easy steps for downtown. So I said, let's get this in our code to help people be able to know, okay, I want to build downtown. These are the 7 rules we need to try and follow. But I was doing that, and I even told everybody, I said, I want to do this. I want to get this on the books. So then we can go talk about 254 Main, because it's the lowest hanging fruit. We've been talking about it for years. We need to get it done. So as soon as I brought that up, they said, oh, no, well, I think it should be the DDA's business. I said, well, I would kind of like to discuss it more first and then send it to the DDA. But I didn't say that in that meeting. Now I'm thinking back on it. I probably should have said that, so I'm sorry if I misspoke there. But the attorneys, oh yeah, this is right up the DDA's alley. We can work together. We can try and get something together and move forward with it. So at that point, we didn't take a vote, but we said, okay, yes, let's give it to the DDA. So at that point, it was kind of put on the DDA to be able to do what they thought was best with the property. And I think there was a lot of hesitation on getting it wrong. Like I said, it was the first one. So I think from the meetings that I've watched, y'all want to give it back, not give it back to the city, but ask for the city for more guidelines. Like, what do y'all want to see here? And I was kind of hoping that y'all would put in y'all's.
I would love it if we had full control and said, this is what we want to put there.
Yeah.
I don't know how many, because I think if we try to get too many people involved, it's just going to get messy and nothing's ever going to get done. Because we've got all the people on DDA, and then they got the city council, and not everybody's going to agree. And
yeah, but say y'all get y'all's best project together and y'all submit it, and then we'd be like, yep, keep running with it.
Yeah.
But it's hard to say, yes, y'all get full control, but at the same time, I don't think y'all are going to do anything that'd be bad for the city. And we got to understand that,
I agree.
So we have to have a lot of grace and allowance for that. So Yeah, so it's back with the city. We do actually have a economic development committee meeting on it, and I've set it up purposely after the election because who knows what's going to happen. I don't want to spend and waste more time with us talking about it and then all council changes and mayor changes, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so it might be a mute point, but I want to go in and put it on the schedule to give you all direction to be like, okay, we're having a new mayor, new council. We're going to leave it for them. Or we can say, okay, I think we can make a decision. How do we want to go forward? What do we want to do? So,
no, that makes sense. And I agree with that because there's a lot, we have no idea what anything's going to look like after November. So that being said, I think, you know, I had spoke to somebody who was very close to Loganville. I'm not going to say his name, but he basically said, you've got an uphill battle. And if Mr. Sosby gets in there along with with Melanie, forget about it. They're going to stonewall everything. I don't know how true that is.
I don't know.
But
I can't speak for them.
But also they don't have the experience. No offense to Melanie or John Sosby, they don't have any of the experience on what it takes to do it. The best one we have is you. In fact, it's funny. I'll be completely honest with you. I wasn't going to vote for you.
Really?
I was told Branden Whitfield's running, and so is this other guy. If Branden Whitfield gets in there, that's the end of Loganville. And I was like, oh, geez, okay. Well, I better not vote for him. And then this was like over the summer. And then a friend of mine goes, I'm moving anyway. I'm tired of Loganville. Okay. But I started to do to look into this, and I spoke to my friend who was very close into the city. And he goes, Branden Whitfield's like the best option you have because he's the only guy who has any knowledge or any experience. And he laid it out. He told me, he literally broke down everybody on council, the mayor, who's running. And he said, I know all of them. I know what their experience is, their education level, everything. He said, he's the only one who has any experience dealing with zoning, buying, developers, whatever you have you. And he even admitted, and you're not even the most experienced, but you have more experience than they do. And I said that when you put it into that perspective, you go, oh, well, that makes sense. He goes, nobody on council has really the experience necessary to do the things that they want to do downtown. He's like, a couple people do, but most of them don't.
And it's hard for me to, especially being on council, it's hard for me to pull the ship.
Sure.
With mayor, you can pull the ship a little bit easier. I go and talk with the kids. I go do I did principal for a day, but I go for a career day every day for the school system. I go to all the elementary schools in the Loganville cluster. And the easiest way I can explain city council to them is imagine the city of Loganville being a cruise ship. Change is slow.
Yep.
And think that you have 6 people's hands on the steering wheel. Mm-hmm. If all 6 want to go one way, you can turn the boat pretty quickly. If you got 3 going one way and 3 going the other, that's when the mayor comes in and tugs it one way or the other. But it's harder to go because if you got people fighting up there, it's going to be, even if you pick a direction, there's going to be so much negative, it's going to be very hard to get it done.
Yeah, and admittedly, when he told me all that, it made me feel inadequate to be on the DDA because I'm like, I mean, I've been in construction for 10 years, but that doesn't mean I feel like at that point, I'm like, should I even be on the DDA? He goes, you're far ahead in between a lot of other folks. He said, just go and do the best you can. Yeah. He said, I give you 12 months, but go do the best you can. I said, I appreciate that. Hopefully I'll last more than 12 months, but I agree with him. We need people who have some experience, who have some idea of what needs to be done. And again, I have nothing against Melanie Long. I don't have anything against Sosby. I think they're probably great people. I think they want the best for Loganville like the rest of us. But you do get this sort of sense of like, do they really know what they're doing? And are they really going to do anything?
It's very doom and gloom.
It does feel that way.
No
and then,
positivity.
Were you invited, by the way, to the meet the candidates in front of Ingalls?
No.
They didn't invite you at all?
No, they invited Keith after the last debate kind of forum that we had at Huntington Ridge, but they didn't invite me, no.
Why do you think that is?
I know, did you watch the debate or the forum on the Walton County website?
I didn't even know there was a debate.
So it's not really a debate. It was very loose, if I called it, even calling it a debate, our forum, because there's only 3 really softball questions asked. I don't think they want people to know how much knowledge that I do have, and if I was there, it would, maybe not be so good on them. Because I've watched some of the videos that were posted about it, and there was a lot of throwing people under the bus. I didn't hear a single idea that actually bring Loganville forward, only what Loganville has done wrong, but not how to fix the wrong other than vote for me.
Yeah, and I heard that too. It's so funny. I was shopping at Ingles. I pulled it and I saw them there, and I was like, oh, they must be doing a thing. And I so badly wanted to go over there and just stand in and listen, but I was like, I got to go home and cook dinner. My wife's at home. She's waiting on me. So I didn't, but I caught some videos on social posts. And I agree with you. I listened to this. They'd ask him a question about something, and he just gave an answer that I was like, that didn't really answer the question.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm here to, I'm a businessman, and I want to run this place like a business. And, we got a president who's a business owner, and look what he's doing. Look how well the country's being ran now. That's what we need here in Loganville. And I'm like, yeah, I know, I agree, but like, I don't know if I would compare myself to Trump. I'm a business owner. I don't think we should try to do that. And I said, but that didn't really answer the question, because it's like, okay, well then how are you going to change? Like, how are you going to run like a business? And I'd like to know that. Yeah. I never will know, because it's this close to the election.
Yeah. There was one thing that they brought up that was business related that they see as business, running it like a business, and it was the health department. They wanted to charge rent for the health department, and they do pay for their own insurance and stuff now. But with long-term planning, they still have a 2-month out clause. So if City Hall does ever want to move there, it's a lot easier to get someone out if they're using the building. But they also don't know how bad that building is. If that building was just sitting there and nobody was in there, it leaks. It's terrible. I would feel like a slumlord renting to that building out. And it is prime real estate that I think we could use better in the future instead of right now. So let's might as well keep something in there that benefits the community, because it keeps our base level of health for everybody better when you have a health department there. Okay. Now we can agree or disagree on the WIC program, stuff like that. But as a government program, it's here. We have the stores here, and they need a location.
So you're saying
they wanted to rent it out for $10,000 a month, and I'm a commercial landlord. Yeah. And I was like, there's no way you could get $10,000 a month rent out of that building. And I'll be honest with you, I'm getting $35,000. I'm getting $3,500. Sorry, $3,500 a month for tacos and beer. So how did you get $10,000 for a building that is leaking, that is going to need a lot of repair? Because that's one thing about getting these businesses here is they want to sign to 5, 10, 15-year leases, which a lot of building owners downtown weren't doing. They are kind of going that direction now, which I do like to see, because they got to put in $200,000 of their own money. And if you only got a year's lease to try and make back $200,000, it ain't going to happen.
No, it needs to be at least a 3 or more for sure.
And so if we're going to rent it out for $10,000 a month, say we even do get somebody, which we wouldn't, they would have to spend a lot of money to get that building up to what they need it to. And then the city could be like, anytime, oh, we're going to use this now, you got to get out. Yeah.
So you're saying it makes more sense for them to just occupy it, because if you were to charge rent now, your hands being forced to update and, fix the building up, and it would probably cost the city more in the long run.
Yeah. I guess opportunity costs is what the business term would be like. The opportunity costs of not doing it is there, but it also gives us more open. I don't think they maybe won't ever move City Hall. If we don't have that location, then they know it'll probably stay there. But then again, I don't know.
I would like to see that whole back area developed. Mm-hmm. I think there's property there that the city could buy and turn that into a proper downtown instead of focusing so much on Main Street. Braxton and I have had this conversation on the
He talked to me
DDA
about it, yeah.
And I it's so funny when he mentioned his idea. I said I had the same idea. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's like a little
square about there.
Right. Maybe it's a little bit different. His idea might be a little different, but I had the same idea. There's a nice area for us to sort of build it. Kind of like I was thinking more like I think it's Conyers that has that sort of side street development of buildings there. They redid it all, and it's great. You can walk around. They've got all these different restaurants and shops, and I said we could do that, and then eventually maybe we fall back out to Main Street. But Main Street's now owned by the DOT. It's like you're never going to get. It seems like DOT is not interested in helping Loganville. Obviously, you guys are pulling teeth just to get them to fix the 20. The road they did there was just an absolute crap show.
So they do have a couple plans on the book for that. Well, on the book, not really, because they're not going to take it seriously until their trucks can't go down that street. So
someone has to die to get a light. Yeah,
we got to do something before they do anything.
Yeah.
So if we continue to do nothing, it's never going to not be a part of the street system, a part of the highway system.
Sure.
And no, I like y'all's idea. I like to see that explored more. That's why we have y'all there. Y'all are supposed to be our dreamers.
I can dream.
Y'all are supposed to be the dreamers, and then we might be the ones that have to scale it back a little bit. But I'm not saying we would. But just keep in mind, like I said earlier, we have to build to what we have. So I'm not a believer in just build it and they will come.
No.
You have to build the infrastructure, the environment, and the community around it to support those businesses. So I would hate to build just another strip mall.
No, for crying out loud, please don't do that.
So that would be the thing. Like if we just build buildings going down Main Street, doesn't mean they're going to be occupied, doesn't mean the businesses are going to succeed. If we can't even have the ones that we have now succeed, how is building more going to then succeed?
Couple questions, we'll wrap up. When is Tacos and Beer going to open up?
So they're hoping to be open by the beginning of the year. I'm not going to promise anything anymore because it's all on them at this point because I'm just the landlord. They're the tenant. They were supposed to be open April 1st when we opened up the arcade Game on Main. Mm-hmm. And so they hired the wrong contractor.
That happens a lot.
They did an open bid process, and they had 6 people come and bid, I believe, and maybe 4, but either way. They picked a lady as a lady-owned company. I guess it doesn't really matter if it was lady or male. But anyways.
I hope that's not the reason they picked them.
No.
All right.
They liked her work. She's done 3 or 4 restaurants because building restaurants is different than just general contracting.
You really need to know there's a lot of detail work there.
Yeah.
It's a niche.
Yeah, so they found her. She's done like 2 or 3 in Gwinnett. She did 1 in Walton somewhere. So okay, we're going to go with you. Gave her the earnest money. She was supposed to submit plans by a certain date. Well, they didn't get submitted. They reached out. They didn't hear anything back. Then they tracked her down, and she skipped town with their earnest money.
Jeez.
So that put them back about 6 months right there because it took them, a couple months to find her. She had a couple months to get the design and all that so they could get it submitted to the city and they start the whole process of actually doing the interior build out. And then, so that happened. So then it took them a while to find someone they could trust. And they actually got the guy who did the First Watch here in Loganville. So he's put a kitchen in a building that didn't have a kitchen before. He's worked with City of Loganville. He's a really nice guy. And so he's been working the past couple of weeks over there.
Good.
So they got their permits.
That's what you need.
They're off and building.
Yep, that's perfect. Guy who's worked with the city, done it before. That's perfect.
He's hopeful. And this comes from their contractor. If everything goes to plan, they should be open on the 1st.
Well, we'll be there. Maybe not on opening day because I don't want to deal with the crowd. But I will come visit and have tacos and beer.
I'll reserve you a seat on the patio with me.
Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate you coming on the podcast. I just want to, if you have anything you want to say, anything you want to promote, we've been talking about all kinds of stuff, and so if there's something you want to tell the people, this would be a great time for you to do it.
Really, I think we got through most of it. I didn't, I'm just kind of winging it today like I usually do. But I did bring my little card with me just so I kind of stay and hit my major points. But
it's fine.
I do have a little stump speech that I say, and it really goes a good way with people when I'm knocking on their doors. Is I got a 7-year-old and a 3-year-old. I'm trying to raise here I'm raising here in the city of Loganville, and people move here because of the school system and because our public safety is so good, because we are always near the top 10 safest cities in Georgia. And we want to keep it that way, and keeping our response times low by keeping the police and fire, everything that they need, keep them well done. And then I know we talked about conflict on council, so I do have that on my card. Doing actual planning sessions at least 4 times a year, to where we can actually get on the same page and do a 5-year, 10-year plan. And that plan will change over time. And that's how it's supposed to be when new council and stuff comes on. Instead of playing by the seat of our pants, we need to actually have actionable goals. And there's other cities that's been through dysfunction like us in the past, and I've asked them how do they get out of it. And so I want to use their playbook, coming up with like a checklist system and stuff like that, and actually doing like some team building stuff like that. So we can disagree, but we need to disagree better.
Sure. Yeah, it's not high school. We need to be civil. Yeah, that would be helpful.
So that's the only 2 things on my list that we didn't actually specifically talk about, but those are 2 of the more important ones, other than just downtown and sidewalks.
Downtown and sidewalk.
Yeah, I'll do a quick thing on sidewalks. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I remember that on the last city council week. I'm like, oh Lord, why is this such a big deal?
So yeah.
By the way, when you guys mentioned the sidewalks here on Bay Creek, I was like, oh my gosh,
finally.
Thank you. We need it. Can we? I'll tell you what. I'll grab a shovel. I'll start digging right now, because you know it. We live right out here, and I almost hit people all the time.
You know, we would walk to school right there across the street. That's how I used to do it. I used to walk home from school. I walked to my mom's work after school, but we can't even safely walk there, and we live right across the street. It's crazy. Like, get in a hot pedestrian crossing right there. Do some sidewalks.
I don't know why that's a big deal. You thought you were asking for the moon on that one.
No, and I pulled it the first time because I knew I didn't have the support. I wanted Bill Duvall to be there, he's an engineer. He's a good one. He's a good one on council. If he would have ran for mayor, I would have not ran for mayor, I'll be honest. I think he understands being on council. You have more voting power on council. But when he came in, he goes, yeah, we can do these, even if it's $200,000 a year. I tell people when I'm out campaigning, I'm not like Oprah Winfrey. I'm not saying you get a sidewalk and you get a sidewalk. I go, but we need to have a plan so we can slowly add to it. Because the more walkable of a city we have, the safer, the more connected we're going to be, the happier we're going to be as a community, because we're going to be safer too.
That's great. I agree with it. I hope they do it. I hope it doesn't take, I think I heard it say it might take 1 or 2 years before they even start breaking ground over there, just because there's some infrastructure stuff that has to happen. Is that true? Or right away?
Yes and no. It depends on where it's at. Like over here on Bay Creek, it could take a while because we applied for a grant, and that grant could take a while for it to come through. And say we get denied the grant, do we want to spend it and go do it ourselves, or apply for the grant and wait another year process on it? Because you don't always get it the first time that you apply for a grant.
Sure.
But it's just persistence and consistency. Yes. I just made a new word there.
It's
persistency.
You're just being a little bit more efficient here with your words. That's fine.
So, that's what it takes for grant writing. And we actually do a lot more grant writing now than we ever have before, which I'm excited about.
That's good.
So we're going in the right direction. We just need to go that way and keep it up. Great.
If you had to openly pick, who would you support for council right now? Who for the seats?
It's
and why?
Hard one. The one I like the most is Keith Colquitt, and that's because he comes from the government world. He understands, and I don't like living in a blighted community. I'm not saying we have a lot of blight here, but his background is code enforcement.
Yeah.
So he can help us with that going forward. But he's also trained about going to get training and going and learning. It's okay if you don't know. It's like you said when you came on the DDA. As long as you know that you don't know something, then that allows you to actually want to go out and learn more about it. Instead of you thinking you know it all, means you're not going to actually go learn.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. So Keith Colquitt, anybody else that you would say?
Just do your research and just vote for what you think is best for Loganville as a whole. And just say, be careful where you get your information from. So, yeah, do your research. Call them, email them. They'll come. A lot of them I know will probably come to your front door and talk to you or meet you somewhere because voting is very important. I think yesterday I was listening to 92.3 and it was 155 votes came in so far, which isn't the greatest. So we need to get more people actually go out and vote and actually have their voices be heard, because when there's a low turnout, that's when you can get people in there that you might not specifically agreed with, but they'll ask, well, did you go vote? Oh no, I forgot. I didn't know it was coming up, or stuff like that.
Yeah. Go out and vote, get involved, join the Concerned Citizens of Loganville page and get involved. Check your power bill or utility bill, because there might be a survey on there. God forbid if you don't take it, because apparently polling less than 10% of the citizens in the city is a valuable survey. I would say it's not, but that's a whole nother conversation. But Branden, thank you so much for coming on.
No problem.
I appreciate it. And best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.